It's past midday in Freetown. Good afternoon and welcome to the Podium. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamara. Our quote for today comes from Agatha Christie, and it says, "Retired soldiers are the worst sufferers. When they engage in financial operations, I have found that their credulity far exceeds that of widows, and that is saying a good deal." Well, coming up in this edition of the Podium, government pensioners express frustration over the money they receive as monthly pension. Over 400 cases scheduled for trial during the 2018 criminal session of the High Court. A symposium has been hosted to promote island conservation biodiversity as part of World Tourism Day. And one of Sierra Leone's finest referees, Victor Mara, dies after collapsing whilst officiating a football match. Well, all these issues and more coming up in this edition of the Podium, which you can be part of and send your messages to 088-373-504. The number is 088-373-504. This is the Podium coming to you live from their service of television. First on the Podium this afternoon, some government pensioners have expressed frustration over the money they receive as monthly pension. They say their pension rate is very discriminatory compared to past high-ranking employees of government. The pensioners are the people who had retired before the establishment of NACIT in 2002, and they receive as low as 10,000 leons per month, which cannot sustain them even for a day. Well, in the studios this afternoon, I have Colette Dumbuya, who is a government pensioner. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
How comes? First of all, let's go to how much you receive as a pension.
Well, I received 33,000 euros as a pension monthly.
So for how long did you serve in government?
Well, I was enlisted in the Sierra Leone Navy in 1986. I served.
Okay, you were a soldier.
I was once a soldier, and then later I came out after retirement, say in the year 2000. But since then, since the inception of this NACIT scheme, we are not there.
You were retired in 2000.
2000.
And NACIT was initiated in 2002, but you were not included into the scheme.
We are not. Those of us who are with the government pension scheme, we are not incorporated into the NACIT scheme. NACIT is differently run by NACIT itself, while those of us as government pension are being paid directly from the consolidated fund. Okay. So ours is a case for the House of Parliament, because past years I made a lot of inquiries, I held meetings with parliamentarians, and I was told finally that the Speaker of Parliament is in charge of government pension and salary. And he is also chairman of that particular committee. So ours is an act of Parliament. Until and unless it goes through Parliament, our state will remain the same. But again, we had a series of meetings with the past government. After the May celebrations under the administration of President Nkrumah, a committee was set up to look into our affairs. But after the government changes, it remains like that. Nothing is being done. We are now trying for us to be considered, especially the agent. There are people who take home 10,000 euros, as you rightly said. It is so. Yesterday, your colleagues went down there, they saw it for themselves. It was a pitiful scene. It is hard to accept.
So with all these engagements, there has never been a change in this amount?
Nothing.
And no assurance has been given that it would be changed?
Nothing. Because the last administration, there was that committee set up. But when government changes, you know, people come with new ideas.
But the past government was there for 10 years.
Yes,
what have you done?
We are fighting. I said during
all
the past
the 10 years.
All these years we were fighting.
And nobody considered.
We were fighting. Only the last year of May of last year, when there was that media celebration, ours was taken up our case with the president, then President Nkrumah, and a committee was set up to look into the affairs of government pensioners. But when the APC left, it remains the same position, same situation. So we are appealing to government. There is no one within the government pension scheme that is below the age of 50. And nobody adds anymore. We'll keep on reducing until we go zero. You understand? What we are saying here is, it's just a small amount of people that is left. What we want government to do.
So it's just a few of you that
few of us, maybe below 10,000 of us, not only soldiers, all those who pension working for the government
before
of
2002.
Yes, it is not only soldiers; it affects people, the police, say the medical, the civil service, and so forth. So all of us are suffering. We are suffering. Some of us are young, yes, we can make ends meet, but they are the aged who can't even work for themselves. They need to be aided even to go for their pension. But at the end of the day, you take 10,000, 12,000, and then maybe you spend something like 4 hours before accessing your pension. You are so hungry, you are weak. What we are crying for government to do for us? Just give us a flat scale. Every one of us, 250,000. Mind you, the government of Sierra Leone says no one should be paid as a monthly salary below 500,000. But this is a country that somebody is being paid less than $2 as a pension. Somebody who served diligently.
But I would say the pension is different from your monthly earnings.
Formerly, it was so everywhere in the world. But pension is meant for you to sustain your life till death, having served.
Yeah, I know that.
As long as you've claimed pension, you should be looked after. Mind you, if it's something like 250, the aged themselves, especially the aged, can secure medication, they can get a bag of rice, maybe a smaller amount.
So apart from that 10,000, nothing more is offered?
Nothing.
No medical allowance?
No nothing, no nothing. Only the bare money itself. So what can that money do for somebody who've served? We are here, we're seeing people coming from other countries, especially our folks, who we are serving places like, say, the UK, in the United States. They are enjoying their pension, but ours is a different case. So we are calling on government and especially civil society organization to come on board and assist us in accessing better pension.
So have you discussed this with the Labour Ministry, the Ministry of Social Welfare?
Yeah.
Because they seek after the welfare of the people, and the Labour Ministry regulates the pay scale. So let's talk about that. Okay,
the other day I was on 98.1 FM when they were contacted. In fact, the PRO for Labour itself told the whole world that it is true, people are being paid as low as 10,000 euros. You understand? They know our plight. The Nasasa said it is an act of parliament. Until and unless parliament acts on it, we are going to remain as we are. So
in future, now that you've brought it to the notice of people and all what you've been doing in the past years, let's talk about what you will do now to see that this change is effective.
Well, firstly, is what I'm doing now, bring it to the attention, not only to government, to the people of Sierra Leone, whom we've served. You understand? Then we are trying to make, say, we have a meeting with parliamentarians.
So have you been given an appointment to meet?
No, we are going for it. We'll ask for an appointment. We'll meet the leader of government business, the majority leader in parliament.
So what is the Labour Congress involved in all of this?
They are in it, but you know, this is Sierra Leone. People are afraid, you understand, as long as it concerns government, people are afraid of championing it.
But this is the welfare of people who have served the
government. Some of us know what to do. This is what I'm doing now. We'll get them involved, but let us do ours. Why? So that people are supporting us. But we need your help, all of you.
Thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. He is Kole Numbuya, government pensioner. And in future editions of the Podium, we'll bring in authorities who will tell us what they will do to alleviate the plight of these pensioners. 10,000 per month. Well, for another issue this afternoon, prior to the World Tourism Day on the 27th of this month, the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs has held a one-day symposium on the promotion of island conservation, biodiversity, sustainable livelihood and tourism development. tourism development and island resilience are key factors that can be prudently escalated with innovative and proactive solutions to provide attractive destination sites for tourists, which impact will be an added value to the growth potential of the country's economy. Well, to tell us more about World Tourism Day, we have in the studios Dura Koroma, who is from Island Aid, because they're teaming up with the Ministry of Tourism on this issue. Good afternoon, welcome to the podium. This theme for World Tourism Day tomorrow, the promotion of island conservation, biodiversity, sustainable livelihood and tourism development. Let's talk about that theme in the Sierra Leonean context.
Well, evidently this year's theme for the World Tourism Day is tourism and the digital transformation.
Okay.
We use our own theme.
The Sierra Leonean theme?
Yeah, we use our theme alongside the international theme.
Okay.
We promote island conservation, biodiversity, sustainable livelihood and tourism development, especially ecotourism, because we believe ecotourism or islands, they are the drivers for sustainable tourism development because they have the natural potentials, the richness of nature, which could be tapped. But unfortunately, these islands are left under the mercy of environmental disaster. They are left under the mercy of ecological and social and economic vulnerabilities, even though they have the potential. So as we've been islanders and also conservationists, we thought it fit to at least promote and escalate the vulnerability of islands so that it could attract the government and also key stakeholders. Now, the islands, they are the treasure trove for biodiversity and also the bellwether for international policies. They have attracted international concern for the islands to be developed because they are considered as the precious gem of a nation, if identified, if the potentials are identified. And
yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. The islands in Sierra Leone, before we come to if they have the potential to be developed, to meet the theme of what you're trying to achieve, let's talk about the islands. Which are the islands?
Well, basically from our research, we have 22 islands.
Okay.
But we have 8 major islands, and we have stratified them into 4 categories. We have the islands along the Uke River, those are the Bangasuka River, and those are the Great Kiasis, and those are the southeast. Okay. Yeah.
Because sometimes, generally, when people talk about islands, they only think of Bong, Tassel, and some of these. There are so many others, you said 22, that people don't know. Yeah. Can we know them, please? Yeah,
like you have the Yema, you have the Kakam, along the Uke River, you have the Yato, you have the Ilmakant, there are many.
Okay. So let's talk about the potential. Do they have it?
Yeah, well, basically we are trying to do, before we identify the viability of them, we need to do needs assessment survey to identify the needs of the people, because you cannot do tourism without identifying the needs, the ecosystem, the environment where you are operating. You have to know, because the islands, their predominant economic activity is fishing, but alongside fishing is seasonal, and survival is continual. So you have to have an alternative livelihood apart from the tourism aspect, because tourism is referred to as the poetry of people, the poetry of a place. So we are escalating this concept under the Balanced Development Initiative. We are alongside tourism activities, we have to also to do other alternative level activities.
Okay. Now your organization, Island Aid, what do you really do?
Well, we are a consortium of, well, I don't want to say, we are a consortium of experts. We have environmentalists, we have tax policy, financial analysts. Like myself, I am a financial expert, but I have passion for islands.
So what have you done to improve on these islands?
Well, we cannot do it alone because...
You're working with the tourism ministry. What are your suggestions?
Yes. It's what concerns everybody must be everybody's interest. Okay. So it concerns also it's our interest. So we are collaborating with tourism, Monument Heritage Commission, National Protected Authority, because they have the statutory mandate to at least engage in environmental management and ecotourism development. So we are just being partners in development to escalate the vulnerability of the islands.
Okay, so let's talk about what needs to be done for these islands to be sustainable livelihood in tourism development.
Yeah, we have to navigate a bit from their traditional activities to engage into other activities. economic livelihood, like we engage into aquaculture, agri-tourism, they're using agriculture.
So how would you achieve that? Because we know that most people, especially Africans or Sierra Leoneans, when our mindset is for this goal, diverting it to other means is very difficult. Let's talk about the ways, the methods you'll use to achieve this.
Well, it all depends on the level of sensitization.
Okay.
Community engagement, because I'm building that.
So have you been doing that?
Yeah, there is, even this about the conference that we had yesterday. We are engaged into proactive.
You had the conference in Freetown.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
we invited the island because
the people came from.
Yes,
those
because
islands.
we normally have various activities. We have the Islands Day, which normally celebrate on the 22nd.
Okay.
So we will take that activity to the various islands. In fact, this year it was done on Pepel Island.
Okay.
The other years, Tasso Island. So we do rotation.
So far.
For them to have a feel.
Okay. So far, do you see you achieving this goal?
Well, the achievement of it depends on the resource capacity and the level of commitment by the key stakeholders, because island business is everybody's interest. It cannot be done in isolation without the community having the support. So we are trying, and we hope the new direction will do something. Okay,
and coming to talk about the World Tourism Day, can you tell us what it's about?
Well, it's an annual event celebrated on the 27th September. Last year the theme was sustainable tourism development, and this year it's tourism and the digital transformation, because like from the natural perception of digital automation, when it's applied or used or implemented, it means people are thinking that we are going to scale down staff capacity. No, it's just improving the service and providing quality tourism products that can attract.
So what
tourists
products does Sierra Leone have?
Pardon?
So what tourism products does Sierra Leone have?
We have many. We have many. Like even like if you go to Bones Island, we have historical evidence of the slave trade. Okay. Yeah, and you also
are those monuments being preserved?
They are preserved. They are preserved because like we are also collaborating with the Monuments Against Commission for those relics to be preserved.
Sometimes when people talk about digital, they'll think of the computerized world. Yeah. How does Sierra Leone fit in?
Well, we thank now for this the advancement of the internet facility in the country, which we're able to connect tourists from one point to another. It's accessibility. That's what we are talking about, for the tourists to have information about their itinerary and other needs.
Okay, continue to stay with us. Thank you so much. And he is Dua Koroma, the Executive Director, Island Aid Sierra Leone. And for another issue this afternoon, 424 cases have been scheduled for trial during the 2018 criminal session of the High Court. The opening saw 50 cases presided over by Chief Justice Abdullah Chum. The prevalent cases of this session include sexual penetration, wounding with intent, conspiracy, and robbery with aggravation. But for more on the 2018 criminal session, I have the official spokesperson of the Judiciary of Sierra Leone, Moses Lamin Koroma. Good afternoon. Welcome to the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
So many cases, 424. Why have they been accumulated?
Well,
this huge number?
They have not been accumulated in the first place. These are cases that are having access to the High Court. You know, in the judicial system, you have cases that came from the police, like for instance the 24. These were people that were apprehended or they were charged to court by the police. So they cannot just access High Court. They have to go through the magistrate court. After the preliminary investigation, some were tried and sentenced at the magistrate level, because if you are trying a case, once the sentencing will exceed 7 years, then the magistrate don't have the mandate to try that case, but they have to commit it. So all of the 424 cases, they are indictable offenses in which their fate can be determined by the judge based on evidence whether they are guilty or not. So these are fresh cases.
What period of time?
Well, I cannot tell how long they take at the magistrate court, but I'm pretty sure when we say a preliminary investigation. These are extremely expeditious trials. They have been tried expeditiously, and now they are coming to High Court because the magistrate court doesn't have to prove everything, just certain. Now, for instance, for wounding with intent, he has to prove based on the prosecution and the defense whether there is an evidence of intent or recklessness. Once that is established, he cannot determine, but that issue will be sent to the High Court, because the High Court, in all of the structure, the High Court has what we call unlimited jurisdiction. So they can even give death penalty, they can give life sentence, like for instance, wounding with intent, it attract life sentence, robbery with aggravation, murder, attract death penalty, either by hanging or by firing squad. So that's not the magistrate court cannot deal with them. So these are fresh cases. Just for the September.
When you say fresh for the High Court,
fresh,
not for the,
no, because
the court,
yes,
the judicial system.
At a stage, it was fresh for the magistrate court, but now the magistrate court has concluded everything that they need, so they have committed them to the High Court. So when they are coming, that is why we have the call over. The call over is to look at fresh cases for the High Court. So the 424, they are just fresh cases for the High Court. And when it comes to November, we have also the November session. This is the September session of the September criminal session. So we have 424. There is a possibility that come November we'll be having another session. Okay. Come January, so we have like 3 to 4 sessions in the year. You understand? So likely there is possibility that the November session will have less than 424 or will have more than 424. But the fact is that for the fact that they are coming to the High Court, it means they are indictable offenses. So they are serious crimes. And let me just tell people the statistics that we have. We know it has been the concern of the general public about this issue of sexual penetration. But when we compare the list, we have 26 murder cases. That is, people has been allegedly killed illegally. You understand? 26 with multiple defendants. For some murder, you have one person, but for other, you have 5, 6, 7 persons. They come together, what we call in law joint enterprise, to execute a crime. And for wounding with intent, we have 47. And wounding with intent attract life imprisonment. And we have robbery with aggravation. Now, robbery with aggravation, the person will not die, but it has some psychological impact. In fact, that one is more serious than murder. So that is why, even though it carries the death penalty, but you will not be hanged in the case of murder, but by virtue of the law, you will face a firing squad in a public place. That is with aggravation and violence.
Even if the victim did not die?
No, the person doesn't need to die, because when you kill the person, you will be charged for murder.
So this has to do with psychological...
It has a psychological impact. Okay. So that is why it is serious. Assuming that sure the thing happened here, then we decided to have a very important meeting in this particular place. You called somebody who has been here once when the incident took place. The person will recall, you understand, that I came here at so and so time, or somebody will inform that person, we were there at so and so time, something like this happened. So it will hinder the progress. Assuming that tourists came to the country and somebody used knife to take what he has in his possession.
Something like that happened to my colleague.
Fine. So even when you tell that person to come, that person will not come. So that's why it attracts life in death penalty by firing squad, just like treason, ritual murder. You understand? Robbery, aggravation, and violence, they attract the death penalty by firing squad, whilst murder is death by hanging. And they are saying it should be done publicly, because for you to send signal that if you do short the thing, short will happen. And for robbery with aggravation and violence, we have 12. And sexual penetration, we have 43. So we cannot say it is 43 that came to the judicial system. Some came through the magistrate court, you understand, but evidence were not there. There was no compelling evidence for short an issue to be charged to the High Court. But for this one, we can say there is a compelling evidence for it to be charged. That is why...
So, Moses, let me come in there. even when there is a compelling evidence for the magistrate court, he cannot commit. He has to commit the case to the High Court.
Yes,
The magistrate does not have the sole right to make the do the sentence.
No, magistrate cannot sentence for
except it goes to the High Court. A judge has to determine that.
For indictable offences.
Okay.
And also, let me just make it clear, even when it comes to the issue of bail, for sexual penetration, you will discover that sexual penetration doesn't attract death penalty when it comes to sentencing. But because of the rate of sexual penetration, the maximum sentence is 15 years. So it doesn't matter the impact on the victim. The maximum is 15 years because it can be determined.
Even if the victim dies.
Yes, no, if the victim dies, then we'll change it from murder, we'll change it from sexual penetration to murder. That if the victim died as a result of the sexual penetration. And also the evidence to convict will be different. So when it comes to murder, we look for intention, recklessness. But when it comes to this, we look for consent. And in a situation wherein for sexual penetration, you don't even need consent when it comes to it. You understand? It is only when it comes to rape, then you have the issue of consent. But what we are saying, even though it attracts 15 years imprisonment as maximum, but because of the seriousness, the law says for this particular offense, once there is evidence, then a magistrate has no mandate to grant bail, but it can be committed to the High Court. So bail can only be determined, just like murder and the others that I've highlighted, can only be determined by a judge. So in other words,
sometimes most of these people have to be incarcerated for the duration of the matter, even from the magistrate to until it's committed to the High Court.
For the magistrate court, yes. But for the High Court, let us have a situation. We, the judiciary, we are governed by law. From section 120, subsection 3 says we are subjected to the Constitution and other laws. So that is why no matter what the public thinks, no matter what the public says, no matter what journalists says, when it comes to the issue of the law, our first point of call is to glue to the law rather than to public opinion. Now, let me just make this clear. In a situation wherein somebody is charged for murder and is standing trial, section 23, 4 and 2 of our Constitution says every accused person is entitled to fair hearing. You understand? So in a situation wherein you cannot produce evidence, either by the prosecution team, you cannot produce evidence, and we don't want to keep the accused person in prison. So even for murder cases, because journalists has been coming around, even when we are having this call over, some has been there for 2010, 2013, you understand, and we are still waiting on evidence. So we are saying to the prosecution, there is no need for them to be kept there when there is no evidence. So the best, we release them. So once they are released, you go and develop your case, have your evidence. Once you get the evidence, come to us and the matter will start. So we want to see where we will give bail, because
even at the High Court, bail is granted.
Yes, even at the High Court, that is what I'm saying. There is no offense you will commit in Sierra Leone that is not bailable. All offenses, they are bailable, and that's the public education we want to take to people. Because there are certain times you will see somebody will come with a case at the court, you understand. All he wants is for that person to be sent to prison. So that is what we want to discourage. You cannot use the court as an instrument to achieve your own selfish motive. So even when it comes to the 424, at the end of the call over, some of them have been pleaded guilty to the offense and they have been sentenced. Some has been sentenced for 7 years, like the sexual penetration cases. Some has been sentenced for 5 years. Some has been sentenced for 6 years. And some, even though they have already completed the sentencing, if they are convicted, they have been in prison for too long, they will say, no, I don't think I will plead guilty to this offense. I need a trial. So for those cases,
if they plead, as long as they plead guilty, it amounts to a sentence.
Yes, once you plead guilty.
So what if you have taken more than the years you should be sentenced for, you have been in the prison, what would happen in those cases?
You will be released.
Okay,
You
so you
will
will
be
not
released.
serve any more years.
No, yes, you will be released.
As long as you are remanded for all that time.
Yes, because upon conviction, assuming that, like for sexual penetration, you came to the court and you said, I'm guilty of the offense. Now they said you are sentenced for 4 years. Maybe you are spent by the prison
6 years.
calculation. You are
Because
spent. No, you can
delay,
spend. You can.
They just delay just for nothing.
No,
and some people suffer.
No, it is not. It is not just for nothing.
Sincerely, because you mentioned earlier that they will bring a case, they will charge a case and charge someone with murder, and there's not enough evidence.
So
So what would happen to those
what I'm saying,
if they are not given bail?
Yeah,
what
I'm saying, if you watch, we have got these challenges long since, and we are trying to address them. So that is why we are saying this is not the first time we have been granted bail to people who have been alleged to have committed murder. Okay. You understand? This is not the first time. This is not the first time we have been granted bail to people who are alleged to have been committed robbery with aggravation. The only thing, most of the cases that we are talking about when somebody has spent something like 3 years, 4 years in prison, 5 years. These are serious offenses. In a situation we are in, you have some evidence, but you don't have much to convict. And there are certain times...
let me come in, Mr. Koma. Let me come in there. How would the police charge a case to court without enough evidence?
Well,
there's a problem there.
Well, the police...
And then you'll be looking for evidence when the trial is on. Is there not a discrepancy there?
No, it is not. When you come to the police and the law officers department, I agree with you, they have the discretion. They have the laxity to determine as to what should be charged or not, and under what. Now, for instance, if the police, somebody is apprehended for robbery with aggravation, you understand, you know it carries death penalty. The police, they have the flexibility to reduce it to simple robbery, so which will give something like 10, 15 years. But once it is charged, and that is why we are telling them now, you understand, if you don't have the evidence, when the person comes before us, because the essence of the justice system, the judiciary, is to ensure that the person who has been apprehended by the police, charged by the police, is being tried by an independent body. But let us say you talked about keeping people in prison. There are certain times people are there not because we want to keep them there. Mind you, we also have, the judge has the discretion to release, but also has the discretion to keep for the safety of the individual. Assuming that there is a murder case you have been alleged, like for instance, they just concluded a Lissi case. You cannot release that person, even though if you are thinking of granting that person bail. We made an attempt of the Fobe murder case, you understand. They have been there for a certain period, and the pace at which the case is taken is at a very slow pace. So we decided to give bail. So just upon pronouncement, there are people from the Fobe community, they came to the court and they said, do you think if we see them, we'll do this and that and that? So what will happen? We have to ensure that they are there. So it could be another reason why we keep people. You understand? It's not because we want to keep them there. The situation, the atmosphere, because you release them, there will be mob justice. Then what will happen? You will come also with another set of people for murder case. So there are certain times having somebody behind bars is a preventive measure. Okay.
So now it's like the judiciary is trying to get a new face, speeding up trials, not keeping people in prison for a long time. Let's talk about these 424 cases. How soon will they become?
Well, I can tell you for free, because one thing that I've been saying in public relation or public education, even if you are advocating for an institution, you have to say the fact. It builds credibility. I can tell you for for the murder case and for the robbery with aggravation, which gives a total of 38, we cannot say we have total control, simply because we need jurors. And we have been complaining, and journalists have been raising issues of these jurors. We need 12 to determine, they will sit by a judge, and they will determine whether this person should be killed or not. And if one is absent, even if the judge is there, the prosecution team is there, the defense team is there, if one juror is absent, we cannot continue with that case. So what we did was that we made a proposal on the new CPA that the number should be reduced from 12 to 7, so that these cases will be tried expeditiously. But for them, we cannot determine, you understand, unless we have the cooperation of the entire the prosecution team, the defense, and that of the jurors. But for the other cases, I can tell you, in a situation like for fraudulent conversion, housebreaking, and larceny, if you don't come to defend, to produce your evidence, the judge has the ultimate mandate to say, I will just send this case out. So it's left with you.
So some fraudulent conversion cases are also committed to the High Court.
Yes. In fact, if it exceeds...
that's the term I am not comfortable with. Because from the police to the court, people may owe debts. They say it's fraudulent conversion.
Well, actually,
are they misusing that word?
Well, I don't want to reference that because I'm not the spokesperson for the police. But the fact is that
but with your legal, with your job, you know what that means.
So that is why when some of these cases comes up, because one, if you say wounding with intent, you either have to charge under section 20, section 18 of the offenses against the person, section 20 or section 47. But in a situation wherein you say wounding with intent, then you go and reference an other law to support your charge, then we'll just throw it. So some of these cases, we throw them out, we say go and make the necessary charge, and it should work in accordance with the law. Right. But if the police say it's fraudulent conversion, if it is murder, then we are saying the burden of proof is with you, the police. To prove before the court whether this person has committed this crime or not.
Okay, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. Official spokesperson of the Judiciary of Sierra Leone, Moses Lamin Kamara. Well, so on a sad note, one of Sierra Leone's finest referees, Victor Forimara, has died after collapsing whilst officiating a football match between Falcom 12 and Crew Bay community football teams at the Kington playing field. According to reports, referee Mara is the first in Africa to have died whilst officiating a match. Well, to discuss more on that, I have in the studio Raymond Coker, a senior FIFA referee who also witnessed the unfortunate situation at the KT field. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you very much.
I know it's not easy. We, on behalf of the management, send our sympathy to you, referees. What really happened?
Oh, the Lord has given and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It is tough for us. It's really, really tough because I was on the scene. I saw what happened right through. To see a gallant, a brave referee going down, it was saddening for us. Yesterday I went to, after my work, I went because normally we watch them and give comments to keep the game up. I went to the field, I saw him, and then he came closer to me and said, my boss is here. We hold each other. I said, I wish you the best in the match. He said, I'm happy because you are around. He went to the match.
So while speaking to him, were there any signs of
nothing? Normal. That was the thing that is taunting me, to see. It's like in the scripture, in a twinkle of an eye. I saw it yesterday. So the match, the first half
Does
of the
he
match.
have a case of high BP, heart disease or
Let me
anything?
make people have a better understanding. It was in a non-FIFA course 2 weeks back in Cairo.
And I know the rigorous medical...
Before you go to that course to qualify, you're going through it.
I know.
You're going through it. Otherwise, you cannot. Because they want to certify that you are physically fit before entering the course. And he has those in documents to attest to the fact that he is qualified to be in the course. He went there, he returned back. So I was happy to see him officiating. He went through the first half normal. During the recess, I went to see him, and then we were chatting. He said, "Senior, is there any problem in the match?" I said, "The match is okay. Go ahead." After the recess, he entered the field of play. The match commenced. It was moving, normal. So it remains 5 minutes for the end of the match. So there was an incident, from my own point, the right. And then the assistant referee signaled for him. He wanted to sound the whistle. A fumble. So the moment he fumbled, I was 25 meters off him. I started running towards him because everybody was just, in a standstill. What is going on? I started running. He came up, and then I saw him going. So the moment he wants to do up, I held him. Come with him slowly. And then at that time, everybody was alert. Oh, this thing must be serious. Everybody comes, giving oxygen from the mouth to the ears, the nose. We're all doing everything to see. Because you cannot imagine. I was lucky enough to be sensible for him not to look up at that moment to grab him. So we took him to the hospital.
Oh, he did not die on the spot.
Well, I cannot determine because I'm not a medical man. I cannot certify. We do what, from the layman point of view, trying to save mankind's life. We went to the hospital, they took him to a room, and they called for me to be in there. So I went in there, they took the test machine. But the test machine was just blinking, not giving any reading. So I asked them that, this machine is not giving any reading. What is going on? And then they said, just hold on, we're checking on him. And then I saw the two nurses from the high glance.
Yeah, because most times they do not want to tell you because of the shock.
Yeah, they know that I was really tense. So from the eye glance, the doctor came in. The doctor watched him. So during that process, I watched the guy and I noticed that I'm not comfortable, but that is not my profession. I'm waiting. So they said I should come out. I came out. After 2 minutes, they called me in, and then the doctor said to me, "Young man, what happened with this man? He have any problem?" I said, "No, he was officiating in the proper way." And the doctor told me, "This man has died." I dropped instantly.
Okay, come to think of this. Most times, cases like these are associated with players who play full-time because of exhaustion or some internal problems. And this is the first time in Africa a referee is dying whilst in active service. Let's talk about what do you think is responsible for this?
First and foremost, we are from this case. I think we have learned. I've mentioned it several times when officiating, when watching matches, because I follow. I said for any football match, we should have a proper medics on the field of play.
That is what we'll come to that.
Okay.
Let's just talk about
what
is responsible.
Well, I think the doctors will be the right person
to tell,
because I'm not in that field.
Because they have not determined the cause of death yet.
No, because the reason why I said the doctor, from my own point of view, the man was upright, brave, as a soldier, refereeing in the field of play. He never make any comments to me that, "Senior, I'm feeling that kind of," we are chatting just like we are doing now.
Okay, so as a referee, what do you recommend? Because you brought up the subject, I wanted to, but you brought the subject up of professional medics on the field.
Yeah.
So what do you think should be done?
First and foremost, football.
Should there be matches without any medics?
No. First and foremost.
But you are a referee, and most times you ref and there are no...
I always question.
You question, but you go ahead with the match.
Yeah, because we are doing it. I mean, let's go on. But now there is a case.
Sometimes you don't have to manage. When you manage...
Well, now the case. The reason being, I've always... Normally, the teams can provide medics.
Okay.
But for what I saw yesterday, I cannot guarantee or attest. Now we need professional. When I'm talking about professional, the ambulance must be packed. We have certified doctor who will serve everybody, not even the players, but spectators. The referees, everybody, because anything can just happen. Because football is a contact game. The moment the whistle sounds, movement starts. And then if there is a contract, if there is an occurrences, there must be a first aid, medics, to serve the situation. So now I'm recommending, I've been saying it, but now it's going to be a must. Because I've said it, I'm going to say it here.
So would you officiate in any match that
I've said it here. If I'm going to a field now, from what I've saw yesterday,
they pay you thousands of dollars.
it is not the money. The life is paramount. Money will leave money here, but the life is paramount. And we want to give satisfaction to the people that watching the match, because you must be physically fit, as my colleague was yesterday. So what I will recommend, at any point in time I'm going to a field, or will put it down in pen and paper, there must be a certified medics. And then there must be an ambulance in the occurrence for a movement.
For these mini matches?
Yes, because it's football, it's contact
you think
matches.
That they will be able to provide that?
They will provide it, because now there is an incident, vital for everybody. Now it has happened with Mara. Let's take for an instance, somebody go into a field, the congestion of the field, a supporter, or a sympathizer collapse. There must be a medics to serve that situation. And the other thing I want to point out, spectators and players should desist forthwith to attack referees because of the conditionality. So
was he attacked?
No, I'm just saying it because things have happened now.
That's another issue for another day. So what does the death of Mara mean to you as referees?
First of all, the death it's a pain, it's a shock for me. You know why? Before I came into referee, I met my seniors. They groomed me. They left. I am in the phone now. I cannot be there forever. We are grooming this guy to take over, and this guy came second in Cairo. Outstanding performance for Sierra Leone. Now as I'm speaking in Cairo and in Zurich, they are crying for him because he was standout. So they know him. And then all of them are worried, everybody sending message.
So that type of, is exceptional, you can say.
It's very good. And he's also a computer specialist. He also helps us, when it comes to the computer system, everybody is very useful to us. So the demise of him is a big touch. Up till now, as I'm speaking, all of the night, I can't sleep. Even up till now. Because I'm contemplating death in the twinkle of an eye. I saw it yesterday because the guy was in action. And the jersey he died with was the calf jersey when he went for the course they gave him, and he was put in that jersey to officiate. So he died as an active soldier in the field of refereeing. So it's a big church and big loss for us.
What was the score line?
The score line was 0-0. It was just 5 minutes.
So it was not like he was doing some bad refereeing.
Normal. And somebody was extremely lucky yesterday. When the match was in progress, he gave a decision. One of the team official went inside. He was driven outside. The other one wants to attack him. He was held by somebody. So at the end of the day, the coach was saying, "You see what I was preventing you from. You cannot determine somebody else." And to be honest with him, there was no contact. It was okay. It's just.
Well, sometimes in Africa, there may never be a contact. But most times, some of these things are diabolical.
Yeah, of course, because
you cannot rule that out.
We cannot rule it out.
Because for someone to be as healthy as he does not have, and he went through that rigorous medical examination and came back with and to die so suddenly.
That's the question for us. But to be the only person who can determine the proper death of him is the doctor, because I speak on my own field.
But most times, autopsies do not see diabolical means.
We live in Africa, so yes. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you very much for our text messages this afternoon. This one says, if magistrates are penalized for unnecessary length in remand, then cases will be tried expeditiously. Let there be a 20% increase in the NASIT pension. The current one is a big disgrace and a mockery. The current pension does not cover medical and can't feed a pensioner for a week. This is really sad for this referee. May his soul rest in peace. This is a wake-up call to look into medical conditions of referees and players. Well, briefly, Mr. Kamara.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are not that if we are working for the judiciary means we are not subjected to the law. We are subjected to the law. If you have any issue that is related to Well, in fact, we make a legal procedure if legal provision, if there is no way you satisfy with this, you express dissatisfaction over a particular judgment other than the one from the Supreme Court, you can appeal from magistrate to High Court to Court of Appeal. If at the traditional court level, you appeal from there, you go to the District Court of Appeal, wherein you have the magistrate.
Okay.
But if you have any issue concerning the judiciary,
Okay.
then you can reach the Office of the Public Relation or the Office of the Master and Registrar.
Okay,
Thank
no
you.
problem. And finally, Raymond, funeral arrangements.
Yeah, the funeral is on the 28th of September, Friday, at the Jumat prayer at Scotland Street, Moxforby Road by Service Square. Then we'll move on to Kisi Road Cemetery. But for now, we have sent the message to the organizers that we will commence after.
Okay, so the matches have been
Yes,
postponed.
because we are not in the rightful mind to officiate matches. And I just want to say thanks to all the referees who went down there. Because the moment the incident happens, 60 to 70 referees were at the Connaught Hospital.
Thank you very much. And finally to you, Mr. Kole, what next?
Well, we are still on
An
it.
upgrade on your pension.
We are still on it, as I've said earlier on. We'll make sure that we meet the appropriate authority for us to be treated fairly.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, this many thanks to my studio guests this afternoon. And our quote for today came from Agatha Christie, and it says, "Retired soldiers are the worst sufferers when they engage in financial operations. I have found that their credulity far exceeds that of widows, and that is saying a good deal." Well, many thanks to my producer, Salma Tabar. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. The Podium returns tomorrow, same time. Stay tuned to the SLBC. Goodbye.